And also, they probably don't understand the consequences of taking some antibiotic that's going to do some weird shit to your whole biome. Right.
Right. And
Kills
these are all the
good stuff, too.
It's such a moral dilemma. You're there and you're like, I want to help. Do I? Is it helpful? Is it hindering?
Yeah.
Our medic was like, it's undeniably going to help. You know, they need this. And so we went for it. And it was, you know, it seemed to help. Everybody felt fine, but we were only there a couple more days before we left. So who knows?
Wow. Now, when you're talking about ringworm, like, are these guys covered in it? They have big patches of it? Like, what's it like?
Feet and legs had big patches of it. Yeah.
And if you don't know, that's the same shit that's athlete's foot.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, ringworm and athlete's foot are the same kind of funk.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's why people tell you to pee on your feet.
Oh, I thought that was just for fun.
It could be for fun. Depends on what you're into. But I think that's the idea behind it, is that you're somehow or another you're killing the bad bacteria when you piss on your feet and you have athlete's foot. That might be horseshit. Maybe, yeah. With me, you always have to check. Yeah, definitely give that a little look-see. But it's a real common thing with jiu-jitsu.
Gotcha.
So guys,
just all the mats.
Yeah, it's real common. So just guys get it. And there's people really fuck up where they like put bleach on it and a bunch of different things to try to kill it, and it winds up getting worse, and also fucks up all the natural skin flora. Jock itch, athlete's foot, and ringworm are all types of fungal skin infections known collectively as tinea. They're caused by fungi called dermatrophytes that live on the skin, hair, and nails and thrive in warm, moist areas, the jungle.
Correct.
So it seems like they're just going to get it.
That's just what it sounds like. You know, but
what
still
do they
trying
do
to help.
for it? What do they do for it?
I didn't see them treating that at all. And when we pointed it out, they were like, yeah, we know about it. You know, they were more concerned with things that were like dire. Like there was an infant, maybe not infant, maybe 3 years old, and he was hacking up a lung. And he was asthmatic, according to our medic. So our medic gave them like an asthma medication. And he just said, you know, if he has an attack where he can't breathe, give him this. And like, you know, to be super real with you, when we walked away, our medic was like, I doubt he'll live to see adulthood.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And were you giving him inhalers? Did you give him...
I'm not sure, to be honest, what it was that he left with him.
And what about like injuries? What if they break a leg or something like that? What do they do?
I don't think anything. Yeah.
Was anybody? I mean, you got to think these people are climbing trees. They must
constantly fall, get bitten by stuff. There's tons of venomous snakes out there. It's wet, it's muddy, it's slippery. They're building stuff out of very rudimentary tools. I mean, it's nuts. They have to get injured.
It's so interesting that we have this understanding of medicine and doctors and hospitals, but that's probably pretty fucking recent.
Oh. Of course, yeah. I'll tell you a story, Joe. I was in Myanmar late last year, and we're down there filming this thing, and this kid, like 22-year-old crab fisherman, gets bitten by a crocodile. Oh. Croc grabs him by the arm, grabs him by the thigh, and death rolls. So it breaks the arm in like, 15 places, compound fracture, the real deal. I can show you pictures of it. It'll blow your mind. And we hear about this, and we're minutes away. It's kind of one of the similar situations where we're the first Westerners to be there in a long time. We go bombing over at high speed, and we get there, and the mom is like off mourning the death of her child, but her child is sitting there still alive. Like they have written him off, and mom is literally mourning the death of her child, and he's lying there conscious, but like in total shock. Fortunately, just because of the situation, we had a speedboat, everything else. We bandaged him up, you know, tried to keep his arm stable and his leg stable, put him in our speedboat, and it was 6 hours by speedboat to a village that had to a hospital, really. And so he got there and his life was saved. But we asked the people in the village, what were you going to do? And they're like, there's nothing we can do.
Wow.
So he was just going to bleed out or go septic, and that was the end of it.
Ooh, what a fucking rough way to go.
Right?
Ooh. How did he get away from the crocodile?
I don't know. I think he was just hitting it or hammering on it. He was crab fishing in the water, and it came up and grabbed him, rolled a few times, and at some point he escaped. How he even got back in the boat and made it back to the village, I have no idea, because his leg was shattered, his arm was shattered. It was brutal. And it was a canoe, you know. It wasn't like he had a little motor or a wheel to drive. He canoed back.
One of the most disturbing stories I ever read was these guys were kayaking in an African river, and the guy in front of them got grabbed by a crocodile, and that it went under, and it plunged like a bobber as the crocodile pulled him out of the bottom of the kayak.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck.
That's awful.
Imagine being the guy behind him and watching that
just
shit.
watching, yeah, and knowing that you're pretty much helpless.
Did you see any jaguars or anything?
I've never seen a jaguar. I've seen a lot of lions. I'm from Africa. I don't know if you knew that, but so I've seen a lot of lions growing up. My family did safaris, and then I've seen mountain lions here in California, leopards, stuff like that. I've never seen a wild jaguar.
Really?
Yeah.
Even when you were in the Amazon?
I think they're really elusive. I know there's areas that are hot spots. All of the locals were very nervous and kind of knew about them. Like, I went out for bushwalks at night and stuff, and I'd just go me and one guy with a camera. And they were like, "Oh, be careful, like peligroso, very dangerous. Don't do it." But
peligroso means very dangerous.
Peligroso, like danger, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so we just go, and I'm not trying to act like we were tougher than them or anything. We would love to have seen one, but they were very aware of them, so they were there. We just didn't happen to run into one.
Sort of like mountain lions.
Exactly.
Yeah, like they say that mountain lions are like if you live in a place that has them, Wyoming or Colorado or something like that, they know where you are.
Right.
But
right.
They might be around you all the time, and you might rarely see them. Like
exactly.
Maybe driving home, you see one skittering into the bush.
There was a nuts video, I think it was from the LA area. Did you ever see it where the security cams picked up this mountain lion that was walking through this like very residential neighborhood, and you'd see like people would walk by, and then 30 seconds later he'd like dip out of the shadows and then dip back in, and then the next set of people would walk by and nobody had any clue he was there.
Yeah, it's crazy that a giant predator can move around like that.
Right.
Yeah, so when you're there, like what would you have done if someone got bit by a venomous snake or a spider or something like that? Did you guys have any anti-venom? Were you prepared for something like that?
I mean, that's my department, right? Like as the wildlife guy, that's kind of my department is make sure nobody gets bitten, make sure nothing like that happens. And we handled very many venomous snakes and caught anacondas and all kinds of great stuff. We did have like my main camera guy's name's Mitch. He got absolutely lit up by these wasps one night. And we all were. We got like 12, 14 stings each. But I looked back in the canoe at one point, and his eyes are just super swollen. He's bright red. He's sweating. I'm like, Mitch, you okay? He's like, His throat started to close up. He was having an allergic reaction. So we had to hit him with antihistamines. And I'm not actually sure if the medic administered the EpiPen or not. But he was like, we're in the middle of the jungle. We're 6 hours from a village that's then a full day's travel by a charter plane from a hospital. I mean, middle of fucking nowhere. And his throat's closing up. And that's why we take a medic with us. Thankfully, we had this emergency medic. He administered the antihistamines, and Mitch was over.